All right. Just one more video here. Wanted to take a few moments and I guess during these days, during these holidays and just the Christmas season, it's such a great time. I don't think we've ever get another time in the year that you just have Christian songs being played everywhere. Target, Walmart, whatever you walk in, Jesus is just being exalted. So I wanted to take a moment and just do a small teaching about Jesus, the Good Shepherd. Uh, and it's been on my heart lately. Um, I have a just a small Bible group Bible teaching that I do with a few friends, and I've talked briefly about it here on the channel. But I was just sitting last night and talking to them a bit on this subject, and it's so great. If we see John chapter 10, I just want to be able to read a verse to you out of the Amplified Bible. If we see John chapter 10, Jesus, he calls himself the Good Shepherd. And it's so great to know that we have someone that is continually watching after us, who's continually caring for you and I, feeding us. Um, he's the great shepherd. So I just wanted to read it. I'll read a couple of more verses, but let's just see John for a moment. It says, "I assure you that I most solemnly say to you, he who does not enter by the door into the sheepfold, but climbs up from some other place on the stone wall, that one is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep, the protector and provider. The doorkeeper opens the gate for this man, and the sheep hear his voice and pay attention to it. And knowing that they listen, he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out into pasture. When he has brought all his own sheep outside, he walks on ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice and will recognize his call." See, the voice of your shepherd should be the first voice and most important voice in your life. I know many people have used the scripture, even pastors, sadly, just to control and manipulate and lead the sheep down the wrong path. At the end of the day, it's the voice of your shepherd, Jesus, that should take priority in your life. And I don't think there is a better psalm to just point out what the shepherd does for you and I. Psalms 23, one of my favorites. Actually, I've been doing a lot of reading of the Psalms lately. And Psalms 23, I just love what it says in the Amplified Bible. It says, verse 1, "The Lord is my shepherd," and it's going to give you three things that the shepherd will do. It says, "To feed, to guide, and to shield me. I shall not want." The Lord is my shepherd to feed, to guide, and to shield me. I shepherd a few people, and it doesn't matter how much of a good pastor I could be. I will never take the place of Jesus. It's one of the greatest mistakes so many people have made, and is one of the greatest things that I've learned in my walk with God, and I definitely repented for it. And it was a beautiful experience. I'll be sharing maybe more than this channel. But one day Jesus just called me, and one day He called my attention on it, and just sweetly pointed it out that I had allowed a person, a man, to take His place, and now his voice was no longer first in my life, the voice of the great shepherd Jesus. And it was a beautiful experience. I'll share more. I'm actually working on a podcast that I'll launch soon, and then I'll talk more about it. But here you see the shepherd feeds, guides, and shields. Perhaps you are at a point in your life where you feel that you need to be fed, that you need to be protected, that you need to be guided. The Good Shepherd Jesus is willing to do so for you. That's one of his main responsibilities. He takes that to heart. He longs to feed you, he longs to guide you, he longs to shield you, to protect you, to cover you from anything that you might be encountering or facing, even at this point in your life. So there are three keys that have to do with the voice of your shepherd. And, the first one, it has to do with relationship. John 10, if we go back to it, verse 14, it just points out how the shepherd longs to have a relationship with the sheep. And I've been to Israel myself. Beautiful to see how a shepherd just guides and leads. Uh, been to Scotland recently, and man, so many beautiful sheep. And it's so interesting to see this whole relationship between the shepherd and the sheep. In verse 14, it says, I am the good shepherd, Jesus talking, and I know without any doubt those who are my own and my own know me and have a deep relational, personal relationship with me. So the first key in hearing the voice of the shepherd is that you must have a relationship with the shepherd, with Jesus. You must have a personal relationship with him. And that is beautiful because that gets you to the point where you will recognize his voice. You will hear that gentle, sweet, tender voice, and there will be no mistake about it. When he talks to you, you know he has. I've been married 20 plus years now, and it's just beautiful to know. Sometimes my wife doesn't even have to talk to me. She just looks at me, and I immediately know what she needs, immediately know what she's trying to tell me, because that's the kind of connection that her and I have. That's the kind of intimate, deep relationship that we have. The shepherd is looking for that connection with you. The shepherd, Jesus, is looking for that kind of intimacy with you. Number two, in Deuteronomy chapter 30, just for the sake of time, I won't go there, but it says that when we hear and obey the voice of the Lord, all these blessings will unfold in our lives. The Lord goes on to talk to Israel and says all these things will eventually now um, they will be unfolded for you. That you will see it coming to pass when you do listen and you are willing to obey my voice. It's actually the second verse in chapter 30. Might as well just go on and read it. Verse number 2. um, it says, and you have returned to the Lord your God and have listened to and obey his voice with all your heart and with all your soul, in accordance with everything that I am commanding you today, you and your children. Then it goes on to say how God will restore their fortunes and command a blessing on them. So it says, you have returned to listen. See, you must be willing to listen. You must be willing to pause for a moment and allow the good shepherd just to talk to you, to speak to you. He's willing to listen. See, 2 years ago, I had one of the craziest experiences that I've had in my life. I'll share more in my podcast, but I thought that my life was ending. I thought it was the end of my life. And the shepherd wanted me to stop and listen. And he sure knows how to get your attention. He sure knows what to do to get you listening. And at that very moment, those words that he spoke, I've never forgotten. But what's the point in hearing the voice of the shepherd? You must have a relationship with him. Number two, you have to be willing to listen. Just pause for a moment and just sit there and let the shepherd speak to you. And then finally, you must be willing to obey. There won't be a time that the shepherd will ask you for something that he will not be ready to give you something better. He's ready. The moment he asks for something is because he has something better for you. That's the good father that I serve. That's the good father, the good shepherd that I follow. He doesn't take away just to give you something worse. What father would do that? If he asks for something, if he's waiting for you to give him something, it's because he has something better for you. I know obedience is not easy. It's not easy to obey when God is asking you something, especially if you feel your whole life is just depending on that one thing. But I guarantee you, if He asks you for something, it's because He has something better for you. I've seen it in my own life. How do I sum all of this up? The shepherd, the good shepherd, Jesus, He knows His sheep. His sheep know His voice. If you have an intimate relationship with Him, see, He's willing to feed, to guide, and to shield you. You will not want anything. You will not lack anything. He's watching after you. He wants to lead you by green pastures. He wants to make you lie down by quiet waters. Man, I love Him. He's so awesome. Maybe you are just at a place in your life where you just needed to hear this, that the Good Shepherd is willing to feed you, He's willing to guide you, and He's willing to shield you, and He's willing to do it right now. I really sense that the Shepherd is talking to many of you, that Good Shepherd. The Lord is just, He's just highlighting a few of you that you've just been burdened with anxiety, burdened with fears, and you have not stopped for a moment to hear His voice. Perhaps you think the way you're doing things is the only way that you could do those things that you're doing. There is a better way. The shepherd wants to lead you to a better way. The shepherd wants to show you. So today, as you pause for the moment, I just want to pray that you will come to that place where the voice of the shepherd will be the first voice again in your life. Perhaps you allow someone else's voice to be first. Perhaps you allow the voice of fear, the voice of a man, the voice of a friend to be first before the voice of your shepherd. Let Jesus, the chief shepherd, the great shepherd, speak into your life now. Whatever you sit in, whatever you are, whatever you hear in this message, I pray now that the shepherd would just overflow your life with his peace right now, and you will hear that voice. Father, I pray now, good shepherd, that you will lead, you will feed, and you will shield those who are on the other side of the screen. Good shepherd, let your voice be heard. Now, just feel the shepherd is talking to his sheep. Those of you watching this, the shepherd is talking now. Just listen to his voice. Whatever you are now, I know he's talking. Good shepherd, willing to shield. Some of you who've been battling opposition, fighting in the middle of battles, he's there to shield you. Some of you battling sicknesses, terminal illnesses, bad news. The shepherd now is coming to heal, to deliver, to speak. Whatever you are, just let that shepherd, the great shepherd, come now. Maybe you don't have a relationship with him. Just open your heart to him, and he will flood your life. He will flood your heart now. Might be the first time you will listen to the voice of the shepherd. Let that voice be first, be priority in your life. Live by it. It will change you, your life, your children, whatever you are. Do it now, Jesus. Do it now. Come into the heart of those who don't know you. Heal, Jesus. Heal from cancer, from tumors. Heal from depression. Good shepherd, feed, guide, and shield. Oh, yeah. If this message has blessed you, I just want you to go share it with somebody else. Subscribe to the channel. Set on your notifications. Send a message. Share this with someone who needs to hear about the Good Shepherd. That's all I got for today.